All right, what I want to do today is I want to start what we're going to look at this week. And this is the new sort of frontier for cloud computing. And that's the notion of input data into the cloud and lots of it. So we're first just going to start with something that's been up for a long time, and the notion of streaming data in and out of your cloud account. And I'm going to look at it under Azure. Since we haven't looked as much at Azure, I'm going to look at some of the streaming. And then what I'm going to do, because I feel lucky today, is that I'm going to do a live demo of setting it up and doing an example. So I'm going to do a test so you can see it. What I've done on, let me start. I'll show you after, but what I have done is that on the course link site, I've also given a link to explain what I'm doing. It's a page that that gives you information about how to test things. And you'll have the notes, but I'm actually going to go a little bit beyond that with the demo. Okay, so let's share my screen and we'll just go through what's shaking with that. Let me get, where is, oh, there we go. Okay, let me get the chat up so I can see it here. Okay. Okay. All right, let me start my little slideshow here. Okay, so what I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at data streaming. And this has a lot of different applications that people have used it for in the past, and it's getting even more popular now. The way it's done on Azure, if you want to look for data streaming, is you have to look for something called event hubs. So it's a big data streaming platform, and basically it ingests all sorts of different events that can be sent to the cloud. And you can receive and process millions of events per second. Obviously, you're paying for the amount of events that you ingest, and you also, if you want to get performance, you're going to have to make sure that your account has been set up to do that, which of course costs money. But if you have to process millions of events, you're going to have to, per second, you're going to have to pay for it. The data then gets sent to what's called an event hub. And then what you can do is you can attach various things to the data that are coming in through the event hub, so you can store them, or you can transform them or analyze them using different real-time analysis programs. You can do also, there's storage adapters, you can do all sorts of different things. And so it's what you would call a platform as a service, or PaaS type of cloud applications, fully managed. There's little configuration management overhead. And so we're going to look at this to see exactly how you would set it up. What I'm going to go through in the demo is show how you actually set up the event hub, and then a test to show you how you can send things there. But there's obviously more work that you're going to have to do to set everything up to actually send information to it. So how is it configured? Well, here's the theory behind what you have. So you have out here in the real world, you have something that's producing data, or what they call events. And it's going to go through some sort of protocol, either HTTP, HTTPS, or AMQP, or you can do things with Apache Kafka set up to handle that. So you're sending information into an Azure event hub. So you can have multiple hubs, you can have one hub, whatever, and they can be partitioned. And so you can have numerous partitions within a hub. And when you have these partitions, then will be consumed or read by a consumer group. And you can set up various consumer groups, and they may only attach to, they may be only looking at certain partitions. And so that's what you have to do when you're configuring the Event Hub. So there's really 3 different activities that you have here. You have whatever is producing the data. You have these event hubs, which will take the data in, may partition it. And then you have something that's consuming it on the other side. And you have multiple things that are consuming it. And these may be doing analysis or storage or whatever. The Microsoft streaming system is organized to work with Kafka from Apache. So, and it can use the advanced message queuing protocol. And this is an open standard for message-oriented middleware. So you can do it through HTTP, HTTPS, or AMQP. And you can use Kafka to organize all of this. So it's integrated fully with that. So we're not going to actually, I'm not going to show you that, but if you are interested in Kafka, you can learn about that, and it's very easy to then hook it up to the streaming service. So to an event hub. So we've got various components. So with the consumer groups, this is a view of the entire event hub. And so the groups can, the consumer groups are there so you can have various applications that are looking at some part of the event stream. So you can set up a system really simply where you're just passing data into the event hub. The event hub is being read by a single application, and there you go. The single application is reading all of the stream. But you can also break this out so that as the data is coming in, it's also being partitioned and basically creating a view. And so the various consumer groups can view the stream basically independently. And they can be viewing it at various offsets. So you can actually split up how the stream is being consumed and what applications are consuming it. With the other units, we have throughput units. So these are units of capacity. This controls the throughput activity or capacity of the event hub. And obviously, like anything else in cloud, the more you purchase of these units to get better throughput, to get greater capacity, the more you will pay. But depending on your application, you have to match your expected throughput to these units of capacity that the event hubs will allow you to configure. And then you have these event receivers. So anything that's reading the event data from an event hub is a receiver. And so the event hubs, they deliver the events through a session as they become available. So it's watching. So you'll see as when we set it up, you'll set up the event hub, and it will be watching for a message to come in. And it'll, as soon as it becomes available, it will grab it. It will push it to the various consumers. So what have people used data streaming for? There's lots of different things. So you can have things like maybe you've got transactions coming in for, against a database. These could be in a bank, or it could be in an e-commerce site, and they could be looking for anomalies that come in. You could log applications. You could put this as part of an analytics pipeline. So in other words, you're grabbing the data, you're pushing it through this hub, and you're distributing it among different analysis programs. This is also a way you could do live dashboarding. So if you're trying to track something that's being produced as these events that come in, you can set up a system that's basically monitoring this and then showing people live what's coming into the dashboard. So obviously you have things like transactions, telemetry for users or devices, and you can process all of that as it's coming in. or you can be taking data and archiving it through this system. So there's lots of different applications that data streaming has been used for, and there's lots of industries that use this type of pipeliner or this configuration to process the many transactions that come in. This is getting more and more, obviously, in the age of big data through e-commerce and social media. You have lots of this going on, and a lot of possibilities for applying data streaming. And so what I want to do is I want to go through now, and I want to go through how you set up the an event hub. And I want you to also think about this when you're setting it up, because this is something you could play with. It doesn't take very much to set it up and then play with it and then set it and put it down. You won't be, you know, like it doesn't take very much, very many credits to do. And even if you were paying for it, it wouldn't cost very much to just set it up, play, you know, make sure it works and then shut it off. But I'm going to right now, if you go to the PDFs for this this learning module, I'm stepping you through how to do this. So if you go to the next page, you'll see how the first thing about what you're going to see. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer to my web browser, and I'm going to do a demo of this. And so it's a little bit more than what's on here. This goes to a certain extent, but the link, like I said, I'm going to also test it. And that's that link that I sent you, pardon me, that I put on the week 10 learning module page will show you how to do this. So I'm going to stop sharing this now. And I'm going to go to, I'm going to end that. And now I'm going to go to sharing my screen, but now I'm going to, which desktop do I want to get? I want to, which desktop am I at? I'm at this one, I think. Yes. Okay. And let me put up chat again. All right. Let me just get this working. And what I'm going to show you, everybody should be seeing my desktop, right? Everybody sees this desktop, and I have a couple of things on it. I have the Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer. So this is a nice thing to get if you want to see what's in what you've stored. And so I've got my storage accounts here. If we look at blob containers, I have none, but I'm going to have to set some up to actually do this demo. So I would go to my Azure services. So I've already logged on. Now I'm going to create an event hub. So I go to the event hub, and let me see. So I go here, I have nothing. And so I don't have any hubs or names, first a namespace to set up. So I'm going to create an event hub namespace. And I'm looking for my cheat notes. Where did I put them? Oh, that's great. I wrote down my cheat notes, and then oh, there they are. I put them on my monitor. Okay, so we go here. We've got my subscription. I've got a few resource groups. I'm going to put this one in something called testing. I'm going to give it a namespace name. You can see I've been practicing this, so it's already there. I'm going to put it in Canada Central. Now, one thing about the pricing tier, if I can get it to come up, there we go. There's recommended, there's basic, there's standard. The basic one, so there's basic and standard. Basic won't actually allow you to do very much at all, and it certainly won't let me run this, what I want to do for the demo. So I have to take standard. And then here with the throughput units, this obviously, the more you put in here, right, the faster it's going to be. That's where I talked about the throughput units. But obviously, there's a cost with this. That's basically all I need to set up there. So I've got this, I've created a namespace in my testing research group. I've taken the standard tier. I don't care about the throughput, so I'm just going to put that. And so now I want to create it. And so it's going away, and it's going to spin for a while. It's going to create it. And this is the first step, excuse me, in getting Event Hub setup. So this is the first thing. It's not the, this is by no means the only thing, but this is setting up a namespace, and you're going to need a namespace. Oh, you know what? I've got to, while we're waiting for that, I'm just going to. Okay. All right. I just wanted to get that set up because I'm going to have to show you that. Oh, look at, we've got a namespace. Okay, it's still, no, it's still doing this, but there we go. Okay, so now I can go to this. And so we've got this in here. There's nothing going on, but that's because we don't have an event hub. We just have a namespace. So I'm going to grab that. And so now I'm going to put in a name for my event hub. And I'm very inventive with these names. So I'm going to call it monitor 1. Like you can do partition, you can do message retention. Once again, this is, I'm not going to partition it because I'm only going to just do a little test in this, but if you were doing all sorts of things, this is how you could organize it so that you can have downstream parallelism in this. But I am going to want to capture things, and I'm going to set this down as low as I can. Okay, to 1 minute, because I don't want to bore us all sitting here waiting for it to go back and check. Okay, so it's gonna look for something to come in every minute. So, and it's gonna update everything every minute. We can put not to have empty files when no event occurs. I'm going to put that on just so you don't see tons of stuff coming in there, because it's going to look all the time to see, did anybody send anything? Did anybody send anything? And then it's going to store, nope, they didn't, unless you say this. Okay, and then you want to capture these events. Where do you want to put it? Well, I would put it in my storage account. So I'm going to have to select a container, but I don't have any. I don't have a container. So I'm going to have to add a container, and let me call it monitor files. Okay, and I'll create that. There we go. So now I have a container, and that's the one I'm going to use because that's all I have. Now, when I do this, that's where all the information that I capture is going to be put. And so it will actually put it into, we're going to see when we actually look at that it's going to set it up on test monitor 4010, monitor 1, and then it's the 0th one, and then you notice the date is put in here and the time. And the time is set up for GMT, so the time looks funny, but or UTC. So it's set up here. So now I can say create. Okay, and now what it's doing is creating the event hub. Oh, there we have it. Okay, so when we look at this, we can see all sorts of different things that it'll be looking at when anything comes in. We could see requests or errors or whatever for that monitor. So we can look at that. So we can see, you know, these things coming in. You know, the message retention is just 1 day. There's one partition. It's active, but we don't have anything in it yet. Now, what I want to do is, if we go over here to my excuse me, storage account. Let me refresh everything. Yeah. Okay, I don't need these disks there. Let's look at my blobs. Oh, look at that. So I can look at monitor files. I don't have anything in there. Okay, so I want to know, like right now, we have an event hub set up. And so it's going to be listening for things coming in. And it's going to go to this, it's looking on my account. You send stuff to that test monitor, to that namespace, to that particular monitor in that namespace, and it will come in and it will be logged, and you'll have the data. And then you could set up a pipeline where you take that data and put it somewhere else. But I'd like to know if this is actually working. Okay, it is, but how do I know? Well, I'd like to see some things. So there's this lovely program that if you go to that link that's on the course link site, called send.js. Okay, and so it's going to go to the Azure hubs. And the one thing that you have to put two things in here if you use this program. There's connection string and there's an event hub name. Well, we know the event hub name because it's monitor-1. We did that. But what is that connection string thingamig? All right. Okay, so if we want to get the connection string that actually will tell you how to get to this part of the Azure cloud, we go to the monitor and go to shared access policies. All right. And so then what we want to do isn't that the one I want? Yes. Okay, so, oh, wait a minute. No, I want to go back here. And I want to go to shared access policies. There we go, sorry. We go to the namespace. My bad. It's the namespace. It's the connection string to the main namespace. So I click on there. So I went to shared access policies because I want to have access to test monitor 4010 to that namespace. And then you can see there's various things that you can set up here. But what I'm looking at is the connection string primary key. That's what I need. So I can copy that. And then I can go here. I can put in this long, ugly string. So you can see, yes, it's very long and ugly, but that is the connection string that I need. And then what this is going to do is that it's just going to prepare for events, and it's really just going to send a message, and the body of the message is first, second, third, fourth event, and then the course number. And so it's going to do that. And then once it's sent them all, it's just going to print out a message for me. So now I have that. So now if I run node send.js, we'll see it's come back with a batch of 4 events has been sent to the event hub. Okay, so now what I want to do is I go into that, go back to the overview. I can then see if anything's going to be coming in. Okay. And I had some, let's get to monitor 1. Let's see if anything's come in. Okay. So it looks like, have we had any messages come in? We haven't any messages yet. Let's see. It's going to take, where is the refresh? It's just refreshing this way. Oh no, that wasn't what I wanted. Anyways, let's see if it's come in. So far, we still have no messages. It may take some time for it to come in. Let's go over to here. Let's refresh. Oh, look at it, something came in. Ooh, aren't we happy? So remember we set up monitor files to be the location where the data is going to come in. So we go to test monitor 41, monitor 1. 0, okay, we're going through all the dates. Remember, we'd set up different dates and times. This, and look at, we've got 44.avro came in. Okay, so we've got, and now look at over here. Ooh, 4 incoming messages. So this has worked. So if we go back here, oh no, no, over here, let us download that file. And we'll put it into week 10. And so it's transferring it. La-di-da, not the fastest. Oh, there we go. And so if it's going to come in this compressed Avro form. That's an Apache format. If you want to look at what it looks like, you can go there to find more information about that format. But I'm just going to pull off the strings that are in there. And this was, let's see, so now I should have, what is it, 44. So I'm going to just look at the strings that are there. Come on. Yes. Okay. All right. So it's got it's really a JSON object, and you can see, look at, we've got first event, second event, third event, and fourth event. So yes, this actually worked. So those are the bodies of the different things that went over. And actually, there are some readers for this. So I can upload a file. The only thing about this is, okay, so it's going to upload, it's reading that file, and this is what's actually in there with the Avro format. We've got sequence numbers that came in, so this is the messages that were sent from message 1 to message 4, various things about the time it came in. It doesn't have the system properties and properties, nothing was sent, and it's got the body. This is actually a byte string, and that's why you don't see it in the ASCII format. But anyways, so this is just a viewer that lets you look at that, but that's actually what was sent. And so you get it in this format. There's different things in Kafka or different ways in Python to read this. There's all sorts of different ways to decompress and read this file. So now what you have is that, you know, if we go back here, that our monitor program is working. We have an event hub set up. It got our 4 messages. They came in here. And so we can keep going through here to look at what's happening. So you have a way to monitor what's going in. You also have a way now, all I've done, the only pipeline I have is that when a message gets sent in, it gets saved. But I could also set up something that's waiting for that once it comes in would send it somewhere and it would be processed. But at the very, very least, you've set it up so it's stored, and then you get other programs that come in and look at all of that. It has that format set up that you can go in and read it. And this works with, and that's why the Apache Kafka, it's set up to do that kind of thing. So this is where I got the information about sending scripts. I only sent some to that. You can do some other stuff anyways, but it's very good at setting all of, you know, like what you have to do. You have to have Node running. You have to install some packages for Node. And then here's the JavaScript code that you can run. And these are the only 2 things that have to be replaced. The event hub name is easy because you named it, but this connection string, you had to go on the settings, whoops, and you had to go to find out what you could actually put in there for that connection string. So that with that, you went to, remember you had to check out the test monitor for this. Let's go back one. You had to go to the namespace for the test monitor, and then you had to look under settings and you looked at the access policies. You went there and that gave you the connection string, which you could copy and put in there. So with all of this, this gives you the permissions, the keys that you need to go over there. You get that from the shared access policies. And you know, this program shows how you can do this. With Node, with JavaScript, you can set this up and do that. And then there is this viewer that you can go to. So if you wanted to see what you would put in, or there's other things you can read up about how to decode that Avro format. So that's actually all you have to do to set this up. So it's actually pretty straightforward, pretty fast to set up an event queue, an event hub on Azure and grab things from it. So you can do all sorts of different manipulation with this. It's a great way if you wanted to process any kind of stream where you're getting or putting out information. It's pretty easy to set up, and you just have to actually look at all of the different things that you can set up under that. But you get a namespace, you put in you put in an event hub, and you can keep adding them. You can do all sorts of things, and you can excuse me, set it up. You can have different partitions, so you can partition up the data and process it in parallel. There's all sorts of different things you can do with it. So it's a nifty little thing that you can set up to actually handle lots of data coming in. And what we're going to do on, let me stop sharing. Oh, just last point. This little program here, the Azure Storage Explorer, is actually, if you're going to be working with Azure, it's a great thing to actually use. Because it's, and guess what? Okay, because it's really nice to be able to go through and see any of your storage under Azure. So let me stop the share right now. Do you have any questions about streaming data? Lots of data. This is most of the systems have this. Azure's is actually really simple to work with, and so you know, if you want to play with it to just practice sending things in and out, it's really quite easy to do. And what this is leading into is what I want to look at on Wednesday is that I want to talk about IoT, or Internet of Things. And what I've set up on CourseLink is a couple of things for you to look at. So there's the presentation that I'm going to go through and post on Wednesday about Internet of Things and Internet of Things on the cloud. But there's also a paper that I put up. It's a very short paper. I think it's 6 pages, 7 pages. That's also in the CourseLink site in week 10. And it's about the problems with using cloud for IoT. So while we're going to go through what are all the, you know, like why are people going to the cloud for IoT, there's lots of reasons and not that many alternatives. But what that paper is talking about are all the problems that you have to look at to actually figuring out how to manage your IoT devices and processing with putting them on a cloud platform. And it's not any specific cloud platform, it's just the fact that you're putting it in the cloud. So they've got a lot of good information in there, things to think about how you would set up things. The other thing that I have in the presentation that we're going to go through is looking at all the bad things, right, that can come about from that. Because one of the things they mentioned in that paper that I've expanded greatly on is the notion of security and privacy when you look at using the cloud and connecting it to all sorts of devices, either in the home or in the city or in whatever. So we're going to look at some of the technical reasons that could cause problems and what you'd have to look for, but also some of the maybe social reasons or misuses of the technology that you have to look at. And then we'll just, I'll just briefly give you an overview of all the different packages. We're not going to go into them because there's so many, but there's a huge stream of packages that are now coming out for all of the cloud platforms. So just briefly touch on what AWS, Azure, and Google platform have, but there's lots of them. Actually, there's specialty IoT ones. So, you know, it's not just that the 3 main public ones have it. There's lots of small more private ones that have clouds that are set up just for IoT. So that's what we're going to do Wednesday. And so do I have any other questions before I stop the recording for this section?